So on stream and Twitter, I've been asked, what are your favorite fights? And with JoJo, it's a lot more different than the other things that I've watched. Rather than just have specific fights that I put over all the others, I have a lot that I like for a lot of reasons. Usually at the same level, sometimes not. That's a different video, and I'm an indecisive person. So here are 8 great fights in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Number 8, Jonathan versus Dio. Now, while this fight is relatively one-sided, I do think that this was one of the more satisfying beatdowns in JoJo. I know I felt that way, and I know plenty of people when starting JoJo saw this and loved to see Dio finally getting what's coming to him.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga!
Jonathan isn't a wrathful character. He truly tries to be the best person possible to everyone that he meets. Jonathan tried that with Dio, and Dio wasn't having it. Instead, he had the alpha version of the JoJo beatdown going, and that's what I think this is, a powerful, satisfying beatdown. Though I will say that it's a good thing that George stopped all of this, because to be honest, Dio would have probably made Jonathan in the Swiss cheese with that knife. He needed a lot of time to grow, and that was just not his action to get into. Now for number 7, we have Joseph versus Wamuu the second time. Now, I love the idea of a chariot race as a battle. When JoJo was released, many of its contemporaries went for the basic character versus character, basic background, nothing special except for the character's abilities type of thing. A change in the setting had made such a significant difference. Yes, this is a fight. You got the character versus character, abilities against abilities, intelligence against intelligence, all that. But something about the fight being a continuously moving setting made it more engaging, I guess that's what I'd say. Like the pace of the battle itself, something like that. It's hard to formulate a specific set of words, but the fact is the fight is constantly moving is engaging, and I guess that's my idea behind it. Wamuu and Joseph are extremely smart. They are skilled tacticians of battle, so finally seeing this battle happen and considering what's at stake is truly what made this battle as powerful as it was. Plus, it's like the last good fight in Battle Tendency, and I'm perfectly fine with dying on that hill too. As much as I like Cars as a concept, Wamuu was built a lot more and was liked a lot more than Cars. Now for number 6, next is the Stardust Crusaders versus Duel. Now don't take this as me ignoring the other fights. I'm most likely making another video with another 10 or 8 or so. This matchup is just one that I wanted to give its deserved attention. When you have that type of group in fiction, there's always going to be that big question, well, how well do they work together? They got utterly clapped, entirely clapped, wholly clapped. Now see Twitter, people that follow me, I did use it. See, I said that I would and I did it. Without a doubt, there would be no Stardust Crusaders if it wasn't for Iggy. And I think that's what made me enjoy it so much more. This fight was an introduction to a new member of the team. What's better than an introduction showing off how bad you need a member like that? I also like seeing how helpless everyone is to a ranged user like in Duel, but still having the ability to think of something to combat it somehow. This fight reminded me of the fight against the End in MGS3 Snake Eater. But this battle had higher stakes and higher difficulty with the conditions that they faced. Also, you have that beautiful, that final standoff. Oh my god, I just love it so much. Who doesn't love a standoff? It's like, really, it's JoJo, like, come on. Next, at number 5, we have Polnareff, Avdol, and Iggy versus Vanilla Ice. The reasoning is fairly the same, but it's pro Crusaders because it's a better example of the team synergy working. Well, it's more so the duo than anything, but it's one of the better displays of team synergy in the part. Polnareff and Iggy are a duo that have been working on their relationship since the second season has started. We know how pesky and tedious it was to work out their problems in the beginning, but seeing them join together in the way that they did against a minor villain like Vanilla Ice made it all worth it. Also, Vanilla Ice was a great boss before the final boss. Easily, undisputed. Especially with a stand like Cream, it made the battle so good. This feeling that you can just be sharked from any direction by an invisible force and then lose your life in an instant. It put a lot of pressure on us and the characters. Because of that pressure, we got to see Polnareff and Iggy push themselves so far in this fight. And it was truly a great end to a character arc type of fight. I loved it. It's amazing. Now, at number 4, we have part 4 with Josuke Higashikata versus Keicho Nichimura. I picked this one because I believe that this is a great first introduction for the Josuke that we know now. When against Angelo, there was this flare of confidence from Josuke that I loved, but was neutralized and only brought out when Josuke has the fight locked down usually. That's why we have the fight against Keicho. The first thing to consider was how the fight had gone down. This is the first main Joestar to have an ability tied to his stand from the beginning. It's only been 2 parts, but still. Seeing as to how he makes use of it was great. While he made use of his immense strength and speed, restoration is the point of focus with how versatile it is. Then you have Josuke fighting for the group to be, doing the fighting that Okuyasu is scared to do. Now the most isn't on the line, we're not that far into the part yet, but I'd say that this is a fairly significant fight altogether. Another thing, Bad Company is a really interesting colony stand. The idea of a small military brings a lot to the table with how it kept Josuke on his toes. And with a leveled head and a crazy diamond, he finishes up the battle with that, call an ambulance, but not for me type of final blow, which he also did to Okuyasu. Parallels. I'm being as straight up as possible. I think that's real. That's evidence. That's right there. But yeah. Now we're taking it up to part 5 with number 3 with Giorno versus Bruno. This is a great fight for the 2 main reasons: to establish characters and introduce abilities. Now to me, this fight begins when they start talking. This camouflage interrogation was an amazing scene that built up to the actual fight. Mandy goes over this interaction and the chapter as a whole. I'll be linking the video in the description. Body language is huge in this interaction and they go into detail with it. Now, focusing on the action of the fight, we see how well Bruno and Giorno use their abilities with what they know now. Your stand and how you use it is a reflection of your character, right? With what we've seen, we get a general idea of who Giorno and Bruno can be and what their potential is. The fight is a great introductory fight. It also has a great conclusion between the two, and the significance of the battle, well, it's one of the most important ones in the part. Like, I think that goes without saying. Now we're taking it to number 2, being on the second to last fight to mention here, and it's the gang versus Prosciutto and Pesci. One huge thing that makes this fight great: urgency. There's a clock ticking because of the Grateful Dead. Any of these members back here can die. Maybe not Giorno or Trish, but anyone else is on the table. And that's scary. If you've been watching the parts back to back, which I hope that's what you're doing, skipping stuff, you've seen what Araki is capable of. We can lose anyone here with how it's looking. The clock is ticking. Things need to get done. Now consider that and then think about Pesci and his stand Beach Boy. Safety is not safety. Danger can pass through anything to come for you. The stakes and tension is high. The setting is going. The train, fast. Bruno in this fight, go. And he's against Prosciutto, one of the most leader-like minor antagonists that JoJo has ever seen. I love this guy. I wish I'd seen more of him. Pesci, he's a little confused, but he got spirit. And that's mainly the reason as to why I like this fight. Very, very good. And at number 1, we have a reminder that I'll be making more of these videos in the future because there's a bunch of great fights and I don't want people losing it. Plus, there's a lot of manga fights to mention. Now, number 1, Doppio versus Risotto. Look, all right, as a community, to be as real as possible, if you could show someone a fight to get them in JoJo without spoiling as to what's to happen, Doppio versus Risotto is that type of fight. Not only does it have the best animation in JoJo, it has 2 stand users with amazing stands that are pushed to the absolute brink of their ability. Doppio isn't Diavolo in terms of maximizing the extent of his ability. However, he does a great job alone before Diavolo comes into play. Along with that, the mysteriousness of who or what the hell Doppio is a firm driving force for this fight. And because of the anime making some scheduling changes in terms of where they put what, we got Doppio's backstory right before this fight to help this train get going. You also have Risotto, the last member of La Squadra, doing what his whole team has been fighting for. He's the last legs of the Hitman team, and he's there with a vengeance. I love this fight. This fight has no one on the, in quotes, good side, but it's one of the most major fights in that part, to me. The creative direction they took when adapting this part, the choreography of it all, the extent of the animation, it is ridiculous. This whole setup the abilities, all of it. It's just so good. I love that fight. Like, I can just watch it again and again. That whole area of Doppio just picking up all the knives and smacking it. I love that. It's amazing. Great. It's a good fight. I love it. And that's it. Thank you all for watching. I'm not sure when the next one will be. I think I'm going to be uploading Cars vs. Cell soon. But if everyone clicks like on the video, I'll be able to know how much you all want to see it. Same with comments as to what you want to see or how much you want to see the next of this video in specific. Follow me on my other media in the description. I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. PST. Hashtag consistent streamer, something like that. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you all in the next one. And until then, peace out and Godspeed.